Bye, don't worry, everything is all right. Russia will be free.
This is Russian opposition activist Ilya Yashin, whose arrest has been prolonged by a court until November. He was accused of spreading misinformation about the Russian military, a criminal offense for which he faced up to 10 years in prison. Yashin, a former Moscow City Council deputy, criticized the Kremlin and was an active ally of Alexei Navalny. Yashin is currently serving his sentence in a strict regime penal colony.
Navalny really in jail in Russia and used the same great significant prestige everywhere, both in the West and in Russia itself. He is more or less a recognized leader.
The Communists and the Liberal Democratic Party have long played the role of the parliamentary opposition in Russia, but in fact they have been under the complete control of the Kremlin for decades, and they never oppose the general line of United Russia.
Now there is no political opposition in Russia. There are only parties that the Kremlin itself controls and that play a pseudo-oppositional role. These are all parties except United Russia. They are allowed to criticize the authorities in certain directions and to a certain extent, but nothing more. And they rather play the role of the pro-authority opposition that is kept on a short leash.
In Russia, authority in the elections competes with the void. Elections of the governors and deputies of legislative assemblies are held in several regions, and in Moscow, municipal elections. The previous campaign 5 years ago ended with a resounding success for the opposition. Now the opposition has been eliminated in advance. Vladimir Kara-Murza was arrested on charges of discrediting the Russian army. The head of the Krasnoselsky municipal district, Yelena Kotyonочkina, is wanted, and her colleague from the same district, Alexei Gorinov, was sentenced to 7 years.
Over the past 10 years, from the suppression of the protest in Bolotnaya Square and further with the tightening of Russian legislation, which was aimed at destroying any opportunities for more or less independent political activity that is not controlled from the Kremlin, does not depend on the money of the oligarchs, which can, at least at a municipal level, influence the independently managed affairs. Opposition was destroyed by the Kremlin.
Russian oppositionists abroad gathered in Vilnius for the Congress of Free Russia. The organizer is the Russian Action Committee. Among the participants are Viktor Shenderovich, Evgeny Chichvarkin, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, Garry Kasparov, Yulia Latynina. This platform is designed to unite all those who disagree with Putin's policies. But if the opposition is united in rejecting the aggressive actions of the Kremlin, their views on the future of Russia and how to achieve this future differ. For example, Khodorkovsky says that the war in Ukraine will continue as long as Putin is in power. Kasparov is sure that Ukraine will win the war and this will be the end of the regime. And he considers sanctions pressure one of the ways to achieve this victory.
Democracies must signal their intention to maintain sanctions for as long as it takes to achieve 3 outcomes. Ukraine must regain all of its territory, including Crimea. Russia must pay war reparations to Ukraine in full. And Russian war criminals must be brought to justice. Garry Kasparov, political activist, in an interview with the Washington Post.
But what the Russian oppositioners agreed on was their disapproval of the initiative of President Volodymyr Zelensky, a visa ban for citizens of the Federation. Kasparov and Khodorkovsky appealed to the European Union at the Congress not to limit the issuance of Schengen visas to Russians. They explain it like this.
There is a large part of Russians who do not support this war, who publicly oppose it. We need to keep in touch with these Russians. We can't push them away, because what happens tomorrow in our common European continent depends on them. Mikhail Khodorkovsky, Russian opposition activist, from a speech at the Congress of Free Russia.
In Ukraine, Russians are fighting with weapons in their hands against the Russian army, as part of a division of the armed forces of Ukraine, the Legion Freedom of Russia. Recently, they posted a call for compatriots to join their unit right at the gates of the Russian embassy in Kyiv. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Olena Mikhailovska, UATV News.